Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Waiting to rise again.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Quirks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the moment you've all been waiting for.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. How was that? Was that good?
It was like a 7.
Bro, I'll take a 7 out of 10 Hunt Palmer impersonation any day of the week. Taylor Sharp here with you, filling in for our guy Hunt Palmer, who is out today. He will be back on Tuesday. The entire station is out on Monday. We're calling this fill-in Friday. Jacob Hester is out at the morning show. I'm in for Hunt Palmer. Our guy Matthew Musso in for Matt Muscone on AFR coming up from 3 to 6. So we are working towards the weekend here today. We are excited. Not nearly the big topics that we had yesterday. I mean, there's no former national championship head coach being hired today. That already occurred. But
part of my take is going on. You know, that's just like the word around the South
take.
Louisiana right now.
So pardon my take. I don't know if this was planned or what it had to be. They had Lane Kiffin on.
Yeah.
They just had Kellen Moore. And they had Coach O like a month ago.
No, they had him recently. Like
it was before he was hot.
Yeah, I'm about to say, they just had him with the Kiffin. Like, they just interviewed him.
Shout out to them, man. Those are big time. You get Kiffin, Kellen Moore, Ed Orgeron.
Just the timing.
By the way, $100,000 contract.
Yeah, man.
Coach O. I mean, we talked about it yesterday, 1 year deal, but $100,000.
I mean, what they paid him, $17 million to get out the back door?
Yeah, well, and those payments actually just ran out in December.
Oh, really?
So
he's ready to work.
Bro, they had to change nothing. He's still in the W-2 payroll.
Oh, yeah, he's ready to work.
They were like, hey, Coach, address still the same? All right, cool.
Yeah.
Checks are going to continue to roll. By the way, me and Musso, we were talking about this yesterday. We figured it out.
Yeah.
LSU athletics was terrible this year, right? Like football, basketball, baseball. I can't think of a season. I think it was 75, where like all of them had losing records in conference.
Yeah, for my time.
We figured it out.
Okay.
We got to bring back more former coaches.
All right.
So you got Wade back.
Yeah.
Right? That revamped the basketball program. Everybody's excited for the upcoming year.
Still in shock.
You went and hired a big-name coach like Kiffin, but he brings back Orgeron. Let's go get Les Miles.
Wonder what he's doing.
Bro, we brought back everybody else. Because, like, okay, before Miles became a head coach, he was an O-line coach. Our O-line was horrendous last year.
Need some work.
Bring him in. Special assistant to offense.
Recruiting assistant to add that in.
Orgeron, special assistant to defense. He's special assistant to offense. Again, our O-line was awful last year. Now, Miles' offenses were bad, but we were always physical.
Yeah.
We were always going to run the ball. You always had a good offensive line. Why not?
T-Bob.
Bro, John Brady does the calls for the basketball. He's a color analyst.
He's ready.
Make him an analyst for Will Wade's squad. You already got Johnny Jones. Who was the coach the last time LSU basketball went to the Final Four, Jordan?
I couldn't tell you.
John Brady.
Shout out John Brady.
We got it figured out. And like Jay's behind the 8 ball a little bit. Like Jay don't have a former coach. But I got you one.
I'm hearing it.
Let's bring back Smoke Laval.
Smoke Laval.
Right before Maneri. Let's go get him.
Smoke.
Because look, he wasn't great here. Nobody's questioning that. But you know what he did after he was fired from LSU?
What did he do?
He was a scout for the Blue Jays 2007 to 2010.
Okay.
What did we all criticize Jay Johnson for? He missed pretty much every player in the transfer portal. Who's going to know the transfer portal better than a former Major League scout?
Smoke.
Bring him in. Go get him. Go hit on all your portal players. We figured this out. Like me and Musso, we were joking at first. We've cracked the case. We're like Charlie Day.
Okay.
The picture of him and Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He's got the yarn art. It's all over the place. And finally you get it together.
Yeah.
We got to figure it out, man.
I see this, man.
Bring back all the former coaches. Look, bring in Coach Maneri. He can have a role too.
I heard he was golfing. He's actually he lives here. He's ready to go.
He ain't in South Carolina.
Yeah, he's ready to go.
That's for sure. I say we do it. I say we bring back all the former coaches. Obviously, look, I'm joking, but I would not put it past this administration. It's like they're like the Goofy meme. They're like, I'll do it again. You don't think I'll do it? I'll do it again. Look, do want to lay out the show here real quick. We're going to have a ton of football because it's officially football season, guys. Yesterday made 100 days till the start of college football. And with LSU's baseball season coming to an abrupt yet very predictable end on Tuesday, we're going to kind of transition into the next sport. Preston Guy, TigerBait.com, will join us next segment at 1:15, kind of preview the overall season. I'll get his thoughts on Orgeron joining Lane Kiffin's staff. I know he's been kind of gung-ho about that for quite some time. LSU win totals out. We'll do that. Me and Jordan will chop it up about Saints OTAs. The New Orleans Saints OTAs begin Wednesday, the 27th, so next Wednesday coming up. Want to kind of give a preview, positions we're watching, strengths, possible weaknesses, just, talking points for those OTAs. Right now, though, I want to kind of do a little kind of around the horn as far as hit a couple sports topics. But before we do that, we got to get this show started with our opening drive.
Welcome to the big league.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive, presented by Fabry Chevrolet GMC in St. Francisville.
Well, your LSU Tigers are out of the tournament over there in Hoover, Alabama, but we still got games coming up. Actually, no games today. Today is that off day. You'll have the semifinals tomorrow and then the championship game on Sunday. I want to kind of recap yesterday's action. So while we were on air, first pitch was a little afternoon yesterday. Georgia took down Mississippi State in a tough game. I mean, a lot of people thought Georgia was going to roll in that. The Bulldogs take down the other Bulldogs 5-3, so Georgia does advance. The Florida Gators, who continue a pretty impressive run here in the tournament. I mean, they took down Vanderbilt 8-3 in their first round game. They crushed Alabama yesterday 13-3. They will take on Georgia. Florida, obviously, the 5 seed in that tournament. Then you'll have Arkansas and Texas will face off 3 p.m. That's going to be, so Florida will face Alabama, the 3 seed versus the 13 seed. Arkansas versus Texas will play. That's 2 versus 7 today as well. And then you will have Auburn versus Texas A&M. You'll have that. So what we have right now, Georgia and Florida are the 2 that advanced. Again, I mentioned that Florida took down Alabama 13-3. We are still waiting on Arkansas, Texas, Auburn, Texas A&M, but we have one half of that bracket, Florida versus Georgia, in the top half of it. Again, the semifinal game will take place tomorrow before that Sunday game, which will be your final. And, it's interesting because a lot of people were saying, hey, LSU has to run through this tournament. They're going to have to essentially win it to get to the postseason. I'm sure a lot of teams did not want to see LSU because, look, I understand they weren't great this year, but when a team like that gets hot, a coach like Jay Johnson, who's been there, done that when it comes to Omaha and winning the whole thing, you don't want that team to get hot. Same could be said for Florida. Like I just mentioned, Florida takes down Vanderbilt 8-3 in their first round game. Then they dominate Alabama yesterday 13-3. They're going to take on Georgia tomorrow at noon, and the winner of that will advance to the finals. We had Joe Healy on yesterday of D1 Baseball. I asked him before he got off, hey, who do you think is going to win this thing in Hoover? Joe Healy said Georgia. But Chris Blair, we had him a little bit later. He said, hey, I like the Florida Gators. I got to watch them a little bit in this tournament. They're making it happen. Just driving home yesterday, listening to AFR, Matt had Anthony Renato on. He also said the Florida Gators. Like, that's a team that's getting hot at the right time. Again, they crushed Alabama yesterday, but that's a team you're not going to want to face in the postseason either because of they've been there, right? Like Kevin O'Sullivan's been there, done that. He's won a national title in Florida. They've played for the national title multiple times. That is a team right there. If they get hot, they win this. They get them a good draw in that NCAA tournament. They could potentially make a run at that College World Series. Again, Georgia and Florida are one half of that semifinal matchup. They're awaiting the winners of Arkansas versus Texas, Auburn versus Texas A&M. The winner of those 2 games will play to face the winner of Florida versus Georgia. Before we get out of here for this opening segment, Jordan, what did that text message that you ignored said last night that I sent you? What did it say? Do you remember?
Oh, the Knicks. Yeah, how about those Knicks?
Bro, the New York Knicks. Jordan, that series is over, bud. It's done.
No, I mean, we said that.
Done.
We said that yesterday.
Yeah, but it's confirmed now.
No, I mean,
It's
you can't go 0-2 into New York, especially a game like Game 1, where you literally had the lead with 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter. You choked that away. Again, on the road, so it's not like you're at home and you have the ability to shake it back. No, you're in the Mecca, you're in the Garden, you go down 0-1. Everybody knew, like, all right, cool. Game 2, and Jalen Brunson only scored like 12 points.
So he wound up with 19 because he had free throws at the end, but he had 15 assists.
Yeah. Cat showed up. Anunoby, the guy I talked about yesterday, Anunoby. So it's like the Knicks, I hate to say it because my whole life the Knicks have been trash, But I will say the NBA is better when the Knicks are rolling like this. I do like that the Knicks are in the mix because just seeing how the New York fans and just seeing a starving fan base like that for so long finally get to where they've been trying to get to for so long. I mean, we've seen with Carmelo Anthony and Amari Stoudemire. So we've seen those days of the Knicks trying to get to the mountaintop. Now they're finally getting there, even though they're going to get squashed like a bug, whoever come out the West. But it's still good to see this little, I ain't going to say an underdog story because of the Knicks, but it's kind of like a pseudo underdog story.
Okay. So the text I sent you said, how about those Knickerbockers? Right?
Okay.
Wanted to use their government name. I Googled what that was. Do you know what that is?
I think it's pants.
So it's a style of loose-fitting, baggy trousers made famous by the Dutch settlers in New York. Dude, like, you're the pants.
Well, hold on, man.
You're essentially the New York trousers.
Yeah, that's true. But, you know,
I don't know if I can get I may have to switch my pick.
You got the red socks. You got the white socks. Like, they're literally a pair of white socks.
It's just not cool. Knicks is a cool nickname, but you're the pants.
Yeah, but the Knicks colors make them like that blue with the orange and just.
I guess.
I like that. And I like the court. The court feels kind of like.
Because when I was looking at it last
classic.
night, I was like, I don't know if I've ever actually Googled it. I probably did a long time ago and forgot. And I'm like, it's pants.
You should get some Knickerbockers then.
No, I'm not on that.
Bring them back.
Looking up a picture of them, they're not great either.
They're not great.
Because they're like kind of tight at the ankle, but it's like the mid ankle, and then they puff out on the side.
Yeah, come on, we can bring those back. It's like 80s style, like
out on that.
Jump pants.
Out on that. All right, look, kind of a wild first segment. We kind of blazed through a lot of things. Coming up in just a minute, we're going to be joined by Preston Guy of TigerBait.com. I know he's excited about Ed Orgeron joining this LSU staff. He's been kind of bullish about this for quite some time. We'll get his thoughts on that. We'll talk all things LSU, kind of strengths, weaknesses of this team heading into that 2026 season. That's coming up next here on The Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Under my friend David Duvall, One Bath and Closets, online at onebathandclosets.com, onebathandclosets.com. Tub to shower conversion can be a really, really efficient and effective way to transform your bathroom. It's not time encompassing. It's not invasive into your home. David says a tub to shower conversion can be done oftentimes in 3 to 5 days. And if you have a tub that you don't use or it's not working properly, or you got one of those big 90s jacuzzi style tubs that takes up a ton of space and you never get in it, well, turn that space into a walk-in shower. It's transformative. Can add value to your home as well. You won't know unless you ask David Duvall. Have that free consultation. Just sit down with David, chat about what he can do for you. They do have financing available, 0% up to 18 months. So go to onebathandclosets.com and get that consultation. You'll be able to see the pictures of their great work. You'll see the satisfied clients who have left reviews. It's David Duvall and One Bath and Closets. Been at it for 35 years. Onebathandclosets.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Quirks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Welcome back in. Hour number 1 here on a Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Taylor Sharp sitting in the host chair for Hunt Palmer, who's out. Look, we're calling this fill-in Friday. Jacob Esther out of the morning show. I'm filling in for Hunt. Musso's filling in for Moscona 3 to 6. A guy that didn't take off today. He is joining us. Our guy, Preston Guy, TigerBait.com. Preston, what's going on, man?
Taylor, I appreciate you for having me with all the other guys who actually want to do work on this Friday before Memorial Day.
I mean, Hunt was the first one to take off. Like, is anyone shocked by that?
No. If it resembles a holiday, Hunt is long gone golfing or on the beach or whatever else. Now, admittedly, I do have my fishing poles packed and the car ready to roll, but I'm putting in one more day of work before we take off here.
Dude, I'm with you. Me and my wife were leaving for the beach, but I had to come here first. I mean, that's just how it rolls. You know, we're not on Hunt Palmer's level. We don't have the same kind of connections that guy has. But Preston, off season, you know, it's talking season for football, but fortunately for all of us, something pretty big happened yesterday. Ed Orgeron returning to LSU as part of Lane Kiffin's staff. I know you've been kind of bullish on this on Twitter for quite some time. What are your thoughts on Orgeron returning to the Purple and Gold?
Yeah, look, I guess I'll do a little bit of rule breaking here. I know being, reporter, journalist, whatever you call it, you're not supposed to let, your personal emotions, but there is something deeply, I know, right? But anyways, there's something deeply vindicating. It feels right, good from an emotional perspective, Coach O, what he did for LSU, winning a national championship, being Louisiana's own. So to kind of see him brought back into the fold, and there's just a real good feel-good to that. I'm sure most fans agree with that. I don't think I'm going too far on a limb there by saying that. But objectively speaking, first off, you now can send 16 coaches on the road coaching, and basically any analyst-type coach is allowed to be on the field coaching now. So because of adjustments in NCAA restrictions that are no longer in place, he could have a much bigger impact than your typical just analyst, recruiter, assistant type guy used to, right? So I expect he's going to be on the road working recruits. He knows Louisiana and the recruits in Louisiana like nobody. He is loved. He is a guy who is going to have an LSU championship ring on his finger telling you to come play for LSU. And you're getting him for $100K a year. You tell me you're not going to get $100K value out of freaking Ogeron. I mean, this is just a great move from LSU's part, as long as Coach O understands his role and isn't going to try to, say, well, I belong being the head coach, whatever. As long as he's accepting his role and means, which he should, because he's good friends with Lane Kiffin, I think this is an excellent move that makes this team a lot better.
Yeah, like I'm totally with you, because like my first thought was, the only potential downside is that power struggle, right? But him and Lane are such good friends. Like I don't think that's a concern. Now, as far as on the field coaching goes, like, I'm not even talking game day. I'm kind of talking more of like an advisory role, day in, day out. I mean, how much do you think he could help this D-line? Because there's a lot of young talent in that room.
Yeah, especially there's some talk. Lindsey Sterling was more of an edge guy at South Carolina. So maybe there's some opportunities for him to come help out with, those defensive tackles, kind of work some technique stuff. I don't think he's going to be doing any schematic workings or anything like that. And I don't think he's going to be the primary main focal voice. But, I could see him being there and pulling a guy to the side and saying, hey, look, man, check this out. You're doing all this, try this instead. I mean, I think he'll be a highly respected guy. I think also age is something that kind of plays a role here. Now O is in his mid-60s and perhaps might not want the burden of being on the field every day, every snap, all that. He's probably going to want to just come in bursts of energy here or there.
Preston, it has been just a tumultuous season for all LSU fans. I mean, football, basketball, baseball, all underperformed LSU fans' expectations. So obviously everyone's excited for the season, but position group as a whole, not even necessarily like most talented, but is there a spot you're like, I can't wait to see that group on the field?
Quarterback, for sure, because you got the $5.7 million man. We haven't seen take a single scrimmage snap yet. So certainly very excited to see what Sam Levitt brings to the fold. And frankly, that room, all three of those guys give me a lot of hope. So I don't, given that we haven't seen the most expensive man on your roster yet, I don't think there's a group that I'm more so looking forward to seeing in fall camp than that.
No, absolutely. And then, okay, we'll kind of go to the flip side after that. Like, we know all the guys Kiffin brought in. I mean, what was it, 43 guys in the transfer portal? A lot of new faces in new places. If I had to ask you right now, like, biggest weakness, or maybe not even weakness, but like concern for you as we enter fall camp, what spot is that?
Well, we'll start on the offensive side and say offensive line. Taylor, they brought a lot of people in, but if you look at your starting lineup that you ended spring with, 3 out of 5 of those guys were on roster last year for LSU for the most putrid offensive line unit we've ever seen. Not to mention me and you, we sat at those scrimmages. Taylor, they could not run the ball in between.
No, I know. I do. It was bad. Like, the last scrimmage was a lot better, but like, dude, that first one we were in Tiger Stadium, I think I looked over to you. I'm like, this looks like the 2025 Tigers.
Yeah, it did a lot in terms of running. Now, they did do some creative things, particularly with Jace Brown getting outside the tackle box. I'm talking purely man-on-man, right up the gut. What were they able to do? And it basically used a stone wall every time. They did break off a run or two for 20 yards here, 20 yards there, but consistently you were getting in the 1 to 3 yard range with those in-between the tackle runs. And that is going to make your offense a little clunky at times. It just is when you cannot get consistently short yardage just by being physical lining up. So I haven't seen anything out of this offensive line to say that it's spectacular. That's not to say that Jordan Seaton isn't a huge upgrade at left tackle, but I'm hesitant on that offensive line. And if you had to ask me on the flip side, probably your cornerback depth is probably where I'm a little most concerned, because after your first two, and I'm high on the first two, but after them, I don't know how many guys you have that are SEC ready.
I'm so glad you brought that up. I did a segment yesterday about that, and that right there on defense was one of my biggest concerns. I am right there with you on that. Preston, as far as like this season goes, everybody's saying, hey, look, you got to make the playoff. You got to make the playoff. That's the expectation, and absolutely. But like for you, let's say worst case scenario, what do you think the floor for Kiffin is year one as far as like what the fans will be okay with?
What they'll be okay with?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think they're right there. What you're saying, make the playoffs. I think they're going to be pretty upset. I mean, define okay. Are they going to be like run him out of town because he went 9-3 and missed the playoffs? Probably not, but there is going to be a lot of disgruntled people, because a lot of people are very well aware that they spent just shy of $50 million on this roster. And the big names that they brought in, and there's going to come with that, there's going to be expectations. That being said, you're adding 59 new players to this team. There's a lot of chemistry issues that come with that. And objectively speaking, you play 4 top 10 teams this year. You could be the 11th best team in college football and go 8-4 with this schedule. It could be a very good team and just have a putrid record. That is very, very likely impossible, right? So I do think the expectation for people is going to be make the playoffs. I don't necessarily know that the record in which they get there matters, because one of the things I'm looking at is look at the schedule. You tell me that a 9-3 team with this schedule, they're going to have a marquee win if they go 9-3 plus some good wins like at Tennessee. There's a chance that 9-3 gets you in the playoffs, and I think that would keep people happy as long as you're relevant and in the conversation. I think if you're outside looking out, I don't think much else really matters.
Right. Like that's kind of the opinion a lot of people have, right? It's like this team on paper is very talented. They also have a very tough schedule. So like for you, do you think Lane gets it done and makes the playoffs in year one?
I think it's going to be very, very close. I'm going to reserve any specific guesses until I see how Sam Levitt looks in the offense. I mean, we just don't know because he's recovering from injury. How much chemistry is he going to have with these guys? I know what the team looks like with Husan Longstreet, and I feel pretty good about that. I have no idea what it's going to look like with Sam Levitt. So I will reserve that, but I do think it's going to be right there on the border.
Preston Guy, TigerBait.com. Preston, before we get you out of here, you said you got the fishing pole packed up. What's the Memorial Day weekend plans?
I am packing kids up. We are heading out to the beach probably here in a couple hours. Got the fishing rods. Hey, see, the plan was initially just to go to the beach. I was like, all right, well, I'm going to try to catch some fish and eat them while we're there. Because sitting on the beach is, okay, it's fine. Catching a big one, that's great.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Look, we're heading out to the beach as well. Pretty much right after I'm done with this, heading home. We're going to book it out there. Preston, safe travels for you, man. Have a great holiday weekend.
Yeah, if anybody knows where I can pick up some live shrimp to fish down there, let me know. Hit me up.
Yeah, okay? That'll be tough down there. But, yeah, look, man, have a great one. Thanks for hopping on with us.
All right, later, Taylor.
Yeah, absolutely. That was Preston Guy from TigerBait.com. He makes a good point about the, sitting on the beach is great, but, like, a couple of things I want to do. Like, okay, so for me growing up, Jordan, believe it or not, Cassie, I know this will be hard for you to believe as well. I'm not someone that likes to sit still a lot. I like to move. Yeah, if you can believe it. Like Jordan, at work, I'm pretty calm. Cassie talks my head off all day long. So it's like, I know this is tough for her to believe, but no, I'm somebody that I like to get it moving, right?
Yeah.
Victoria grew up. Her family was like, we're waking up at 7:30 in the morning. We're not leaving the beach till like 4 in that afternoon. I'm like,
Lord.
That's great. That's fine. I get it. The breeze is blowing. I get bored.
Yeah, I
gotta have something to do, right?
Can't do all
like if
that.
I don't have the green bucket where I can make the sandcastle with, we got some issues.
That's a long time to be out there.
That's a little bit what I'm saying.
It's a lot of
I'm
sun.
good. Like love going to the beach. Right? Beach vacation's great. 2.5, 3 hours out there, I'm good.
Yeah, after that, I'm ready to go.
I can roll.
I'm about to say.
I can roll. All right, well, look, we'll take a time out. Look, there's going to be more Memorial Day talk as the show goes along. But coming up, we were just talking with Preston about do the Tigers make the playoffs? Well, BetMGM put out their win total a few days ago for the 2026 season. Lower than some LSU fans may like. We'll talk about that and why. If On3's list of the best college football players is right, then LSU will definitely be in that postseason picture. We'll talk about that coming up on the other side here on the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
They got deals. Fabry Chevrolet GMC has got some savings for you, and I am going to tell you about them because if you'd like to get by and take a look, you can certainly do it. They're on Highway 61 in St. Francisville. You can get a 2026 Chevy Silverado at 0% APR financing from now until the end of the month. That's not a long time. You got a week and a half, but 0% APR financing on 2026 Chevy Silverados for 36 months. You can get a 2026 GMC Sierra 1500 at 2.9 financing for 72 months now until the end of the month. Great deals on Silverados and Sierras, and got some vehicles that are potentially really affordable. Chevy Trailblazer, Chevy Trax, as low as $30,000 over at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. So if that's the price range you're looking at, go see them. Highway 61 in St. Francisville. They're also online at FabryChevrolet.com, FabryChevrolet.com.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Quirks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Gotro's Outdoor Power. Gotro's Outdoor Power. It is grass growing season. That rain's falling. That weather is warming up, and that means you got to cut that grass. Gotro's can get you behind the wheel of a zero-turn mower for $100 a month. It's a family-owned and operated business. They've been at it 22 years. That's why you should do business with them, not just because it's family-owned and operated, although doing business with local folks is always something that we endorse, but because the customer service that you get from someone in your community that's able to see you face-to-face, have a relationship with you, that's important. And that's why they do business the way they do at Gotro's. When I say family-owned and operated, don't misconstrue that as a small business. They're the National Hustler Deal of the Year 2 of the last 3 years. They've got the largest hustler inventory in the state, largest parts inventory in the state. So if you need a zero-turn mower, you can get one from the big box stores. I wouldn't recommend it. You may never hear from them again. That will never be the case at Gotro's Outdoor Power. You can find them at 2 locations, Airline Highway in Baton Rouge and, of course, in Gonzales as well. It's Gotro's Outdoor Power. They're online at gotrosonline.com.
All right, welcome back in. Hour number 1 here on a Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Taylor Sharp in for Hunt Palmer. We got about an hour and 20 minutes left, and we are working towards the weekend here. Wanted to bring this up, and look, I understand that it's early, but it's off season, right? It's list season, and BetMGM put out their SEC football win totals, just projected. Look, it's going to change 5-6 times between now and the start of the season, but right now they have LSU at 8.5, and actually it's minus 110 to finish over 8.5, minus 118 to finish under. So right now, the money's slightly on the under. I understand the schedule is tough. That would be unacceptable for Lane Kiffin. Fans aren't going to do that, and I understand it. I mean, that is the absolute floor is 9 wins. You can't get the contract and the resources that Kiffin has and finish with this results. You got to show immediate results, and I get it. That's kind of been the point. Like me and Preston were just talking about it. LSU, on paper, is a very talented team, and on paper have a very, very tough schedule. Like, you start with Clemson. I think you're going to win that game. I don't think Clemson's nearly as good as they were a year ago, and hopefully LSU is better. Then you got Tech, but, you have to beat Ole Miss in Oxford September 19th. First off, Lane Kiffin has to win that game to save any sort of face in the media. Not that he cares, but he has to win that game. A&M at home. So if you beat Ole Miss, A&M at home, Alabama, Texas, Tennessee, you got to at least split 2 of those 4 games. And I mean, that would put you at 10 wins. 9-3 is the bare minimum, but to feel comfortable, you got to get to 10. And speaking of them being talented, On3, so yesterday marked the 100 days until the start of college football. So they put out their top 100 players in college football. If you're to believe this list by On3 Sports, LSU is going to have a heck of a year because not only do they have 5 guys on this list, Sam Leavitt comes in at number 8, second quarterback on the list. Like Dante Moore's in the top 3. Leavitt's at 8. Julian Sayen's at 9. Arch Manning's at 10. I'm as big of an LSU fan as anybody. Sam Leavitt can't come into this season ahead of Julian Sayen. He can't. He's got Jeremiah Smith back. Second year in that system. Tons of weapons. You're going to have a solid running game. Like, we know what Ohio State is. We know what Julian Sayen looks like in that offense. Pretty much, same can be said about Arch Manning to Texas, right? Year 2 in that offense under Sarkisian. You imagine he's going to get it going. But I think this shows what people think of Lane Kiffin and his ability to put together a good offense. Because not only does Sam Leavitt come in at number 8, ahead of Sayen, ahead of Arch Manning, Trinidad Chambliss is 45th on this list. This is a guy who a lot of people thought if he went pro, could have been a first to second round pick, willed his team to victory multiple times in the college football playoff. He put the team on his back against Georgia. I don't think Ole Miss had any business winning that Georgia game. It was Trinidad Chambliss that made it happen. And you got him at 45. Look, I'm no Ole Miss fan. I sit up here on the morning show and I troll Ole Miss as many times as I want. I called them the U.S. and Canada, it's LSU and Ole Miss. LSU owns Ole Miss historically. But you can't have Trinidad Chambliss at 45 unless you're that high on what Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss Jr. can do together. And maybe you are. Because we know the talent's there with Sam Leavitt. Everyone wants to talk about his health, and obviously that's a big concern. But let's say he's fully healthy. You hear all these people online, and I understand they're mostly Ole Miss fans, but you hear, oh, well, I mean, we saw him play against an SEC team in Mississippi State, and Sam Leavitt was bad. I get that, and he was. There's no question about it. But even though he was hurt last year, like, Sam played in 7 games, and he had big-time moments. Like, go look at the games he played in. Played 2 ranked opponents, TCU and Texas Tech. TCU, 291 yards, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers, another touchdown on the ground, 60 yards rushing, completed 70% of his passes. Against TCU, who was ranked number 7 in the country at the time they played. 319 yards passing, 60% completion percentage. A touchdown, no interceptions. All that to say, in the biggest moments last year, Sam Leavitt still showed up. It's still the same guy that led Arizona State to that playoff appearance 2 years ago. And everyone's going to say, oh, well, that was Cam Scatterboo. You rode Cam Scatterboo to that. Look, he was the centerpiece of that offense, and Scatterboo was obviously a huge piece to it. He's a great player. He did some nice things with the Giants as a rookie. But that season, Sam Leavitt, almost 3,000 yards passing, 24 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. And you look at what he did on the ground, another 440 rushing, 5 rushing touchdowns. Sam Leavitt can play football. You don't put up those numbers by accident because you do or don't have Cam Scatterboo. You do that because you play under a guy that knows how to put together a good offense like a Kenny Dillingham. You're playing under a guy who knows how to put together an offense better than anyone in Lane Kiffin. Now, do I think Trinidad Chambliss is going to fall off a cliff next year? No, I don't. Do I think Trinidad Chambliss is going to replicate his performance from a year ago? Absolutely not. I think Trinidad Chambliss should have went pro. I don't know what Ole Miss is paying him. It's got to be $10 million a year for him to pass up that money. I just don't see him replicating it. You lose a lot of weapons at receiver. Sure, you got Lacey back. What's your O-line going to look like? And you lose Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss Jr. Like, Ole Miss fans will say, oh, well, we didn't have Lane Kiffin in the playoff. Trinidad balled out. No problem. Charlie Weiss Jr. was still calling plays in that offense. He was still the offensive coordinator. He was still the play caller. You lost him, too. That's a big question mark for me. Would I put Sam Leavitt ahead of in preseason rankings? Probably not, just based on how good Trinidad was a year ago. But that shows me that these folks in the national media have a heck of a lot of confidence in what Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss Jr. can do, and maybe for good reason. Like, if Sam Leavitt, if this list is to be believed, and let's say it's 100% accurate across the board. It won't be because no list is, but let's say this is 100% accurate across the board. Sam Leavitt, that would make him the best quarterback in the SEC. Tiger fans will be very pleased where this team stands at the end of the season, because if Sam Leavitt's the best quarterback in the SEC, LSU is going to have a heck of a lot of wins, and they're going to be right there in the college football playoff. They will blow past that 8.5 win total. No question about it. It's not just Leavitt either. Trey Green comes in at 21. Prince Will Uman Mialan, who probably the best player on that Ole Miss defense a year ago, comes in at 32. Jordan Seaton, we were just talking with Preston about the offensive line. There's a lot of unknown. What we do know is LSU paid Jordan Seaton a lot of money to come here to be the left tackle. He's a highly recruited guy. I mean, he's coming over from Colorado, up and down 2 years there, but that whole program is up and down. He comes in at 40. Then you have DJ Pickett at 69, who I think is your next great DB at LSU under Corey Raymond. It's 5 guys in the top 70. And Sam Levitt, who they have listed as the number 1 quarterback in the SEC. I'm not saying this is accurate. I'm not saying that on 3 is the end-all, be-all. But it just goes to show you it's one small portion of what people think of Lane Kiffin, Charlie Weiss Jr., that duo, their ability to put together an offense, put together a game plan, put their quarterbacks in a position to succeed. Sam Levitt can run the ball. Like, that was the big thing with Trinidad, right? Oh, he's a perfect fit for the Lane Kiffin offense because of what he can do, how he can improvise. Go watch a little bit of Sam Levitt. Does a lot of the same things. Is that going to translate over as flawlessly as Trinidad Chambliss did? I don't know. But what we can look at right now is you got a guy who's really talented, who's performed well in a lot of big moments in Sam Levitt. Yes, the Mississippi State game happened. Absolutely. Cannot take that away. You got to take the bad with the good. But the good was really good. And when they needed him against TCU, who was a top 25 team, Texas Tech, who was a top 10 team, he wins both of those games and probably his 2 best games of the year. But yeah, Arizona State was down, and I understand. People are going to say, oh, well, Levitt was in and out of the lineup. Arizona State was down. He took a step back. Did he? They were 5-2 in the games he played in. Yeah, he was bad. He was bad against Mississippi State. The other loss, he threw for 270 yards, a touchdown, no interceptions. Not an outstanding game. It's not going to jump off the page at you, but not terrible. You look at what he did. Sam Levitt had 1 bad game. 3 interceptions, 2 of them in that bad Mississippi State game. The other interception was against Northern Arizona week 1, and he still threw for 260 yards and 2 touchdowns. Also, and he ran for 2 as well. 73 yards on 7 carries. Not saying he's going to come in and light the world on fire instantly, but if he can take what he did at Arizona State up that level of play with the Lane Kiffin and the Charlie Weiss Jr., I think LSU fans are going to be very happy where they stand come season's end. All right, we're going to take a quick timeout. When we get back, LSU softball super regional against the Alabama Crimson Tide. We're talking that a little bit coming up here on the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
The other thing you can do is text Swing Easy to 225-499-1045. Swing Easy Golf Club here in Baton Rouge. League play is cranking up. If you'd like a chance to win your way into the league, you can do it through us here at 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge. We're going to take 2 listeners. You will partner up with the partner of your choice, and y'all will play against each other in a scramble format at Swing Easy Golf Club. I may pick the course. We'll see if it's Pebble. We'll see if it's where they give away those green jackets. Maybe TBC Louisiana, someplace that you may have played. But we'll play a scramble format. You can win your way into the league. If you're interested in that, text Swing Easy, one word, Swing Easy, to 225-499-1045. We also invite you to get on by there this holiday weekend. If the rain comes, that doesn't mean you can't play golf. You can head over to Swing Easy to get your 18 holes in, hang out, get some drinks, get some tunes cranked in there, and just enjoy some time, even if the weather is a little bit crummy, which it may be this weekend in the capital city. Swing Easy Golf Club on Segan at Perkins, swingeasygcbr.com.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Make sure the power doesn't go out on you. We're going to have some nasty storms blowing through Louisiana, all from the north to the south portion of the state. And you know when those happen, especially as the weather warms up, you can lose power. It's at the very least annoying. At the worst, it's debilitating for work and sleep. Make sure it doesn't happen. Boudreaux's Electrical can come out, have a local team install that Generac home standby generator, and make sure that your power does not go off. Evacuate from a storm. You want to come back to a dark, hot house with a ruined fridge and freezer? No. You want to come back to a house that's powered. Boudreaux Electric can make that happen with that Generac home standby generator. Give them a call at 985-397-1562, 985-397-1562, or 225-300-9389. That's 225-300-9389. You can do it the easy way. Find them online at boudreauxelectrical.com. That's Boudreaux's Electrical Services.
All right, welcome back in. Final segment, hour number 1 here on a Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Taylor Sharp sitting in the host chair for Hunt Palmer. LSU baseball may be eliminated, but the LSU softball team still has a lot to play for. They will take on the Alabama Crimson Tide out in Tuscaloosa. Actually, game 1 tonight, 6 p.m., so right after AFR gets off the air. When you look at this game, it's going to be a tough uphill battle for your LSU Lady Tigers. Alabama has more pitching than you do. Alabama, throughout the entire season, has hit the ball better than you. And on paper, they're honestly just better. They have been very good this year. I mean, they've won over 50 games. But if you want a little bit of a silver lining, lately, as far as the end of the regular season goes, like, yes, Alabama hit the ball well in the SEC tournament, but then they didn't. But, like, people pitch off in the tournament. Some throw their aces, some don't, depending on their seeding. I don't worry about the SEC tournament as much. Like, they were great in the regional. 8-0 in 5 innings, 3-0, 9-0. I mean, that was against South Carolina, Upstate, and Belmont. Go look at their last 2 series to end the regular season. These are SEC 3-game series. They played Tennessee. They lost that series. Game 1, they were dominant. 12-0 win over Tennessee in 5 innings. Then you lose 2-0. Then you lose 1-4. Even the series you swept South Carolina, it was a defensive approach more than anything. 3-2 over the Gamecocks, 1-0, 4-3. So they did just enough. Like, look, Alabama's a great team. I'm not saying they're overrated by any means. It's going to be tough for the Tigers to get this done. They did just enough what they needed to do to get over South Carolina, but it wasn't a dominant run. And South Carolina's a good softball team in their own. I understand. It's the SEC. Every team is tough. But when you look at LSU on the flip side, they were playing Ole Miss, their last 3 SEC series. Ole Miss, 6 runs, 7 runs, 8 runs. You sweep that series. Now against Mississippi State, you lose the series, but you still scored 3, scored 2, and then you win 5-3 in game 3. Auburn series, 3-0, the 25-0 run rule in 5 innings, and then a 7-2 victory. So lately, at least as a runs per game perspective, LSU softball's actually been the hotter team. Like, I bet if you asked Bet Torino, when do you want to play Alabama? The answer is probably right now. Like, if you're going to get this team, it's time to do it now. All year long, we've been talking, anytime we mention LSU softball, my point's always been, this team is a complete opposite of what they were a year ago. Remember a year ago, this team undefeated heading into SEC play. They're ranked inside the top 10. Kind of fell apart on them. Now, they were able to host a regional in Baton Rouge. Southeastern gets them. They're ousted. They only make the Supers a year ago. This team, completely different. They schedule really tough out-of-conference opponents. They struggle in the early season. Nobody really knows what to make of them. Then a switch flip for them. About halfway through SEC play, they go on a run. They host the regional. They're in the Super Regional against the number 1 seed in Alabama. I'm not saying they're going to win this series, but this is when you want to play this team because you're hot. And again, I'm not saying Alabama's bad. Their bats have cooled off a little bit towards the back half of this season, towards the end of SEC play. Now, again, they were great last week in the regional, but that's Belmont and South Carolina Upstate. You can say what you want about this LSU softball team. You can say, oh, they're overrated. Sure, they're hot. They're playing a little bit over their heads. They're better than South Carolina Upstate and Belmont. I know that much. I don't know anything about those 2 programs. I can tell you that on average, LSU is going to be better than Belmont and South Carolina Upstate. These 2 teams didn't play in the regular season, so there's not a ton to go off of as far as like, oh, this matchup here, but Alabama's got a really good pitching staff. Like, on the flip side of things, I mentioned Alabama hadn't put across a ton of runs lately, but they got 3 or 4 players that have double-digit home runs, pretty good batting averages across the board, and then when you look at their pitching, I mean, even in those low-scoring games, you gave up 3 runs to South Carolina, 0 runs, 2 runs. In a 3-game series against the Gamecocks, you gave up a total of 5 runs. In your regional, you did not give up a run. You go 8-0 run rule, 3-0 against Belmont, 9-0 against South Carolina Upstate. So if LSU is going to win this super regional, I think it's going to have to be behind the pitching. Can you slow down that Alabama lineup? I don't know how many runs LSU is going to be able to get across the plate against this tough Alabama pitching staff. I think runs are going to be at a premium in this series, but it's going to be exciting to watch. Two teams that are playing good. Alabama's been great all year long, but LSU is hot as any team in the country right now. Can they hang with the juggernaut that is Alabama and what they have been here in 2026? It'll be interesting to find out. I'm pulling for them. Look, Beth Arena comes on OTB all the time. Always gracious with her time. LSU hadn't been to the College World Series in Oklahoma City since 2017. This is 9 years ago. It's time. If LSU is going to go back, they got to get it done. And it ain't gonna be easy. That's what happens when you're one of the lowest regional hosts. You with a 16 seed, you're going up to play the 1. But get them now. Like, all of your goals are still in front of you. If you want to make it to the College World Series, if you want to compete for a national title, at some point you were going to have to go through Alabama. You might as well get it out of the way now. I'll be locked in. Probably be driving to Gulf Shores at the time, listening to Patrick Wright on the radio call. Again, game 1, 6 p.m. tonight. That'll be followed by game 2 tomorrow at 2 p.m. out there in Tuscaloosa. And then game 3, if necessary, probably a mid-afternoon on Sunday as well. Let's listen to TBA. Again, that's if necessary. But pulling hard for the Lady Tigers. Give us something to cheer for in the spring. Right now, we're looking forward to football season and basketball season because baseball was a complete letdown. Like, you can be the biggest baseball fan in the world. The SEC tournament, the NCAA tournament, Omaha ain't the same when the Tigers ain't in it. It's not. You'll tune in. You're not going to be locked in. Let's see if the Lady Tigers can get us something positive. All right, hour number 2, the Hunt Palmer Show coming up next. We got 1 more hour left, and we are working towards the weekend.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
First American Bank and Trust. First American Bank and Trust. FABT.com. FABT.com. Bank local. They've been local at First American Bank and Trust for 116 years. It's kind of hard to believe, but it's true. 116 years they've been here, and they've grown to 25 locations throughout Southeast Louisiana. There's always one near you, whether you're around Baton Rouge and Dutchtown or Jones Creek, maybe up I-12 in St. Tammany and Tangipahoa, down the Bayou, St. James, St. John, Lafourche, Terrebonne, over in the New Orleans area, and Metairie. First American Bank and Trust is here in every single decision they make. All the decisions are made locally. So the people that are making decisions based on your commercial loan, your personal loan, are right here in the state of Louisiana, in Southeast Louisiana. You're not just a line item for somebody who's checking something in Atlanta or Sacramento. Right here in Southeast Louisiana. So stop in one of the branches, conveniently located, 25 of them, or check them out online at FABT.com. First American Bank and Trust.